Before we get started too deep into things, I just wanted to make sure everyone can hear me so that we can make sure that everyone gets all the content today. So could a few of you that have joined in just raise your hand, that's kind of down there in your button, just raise your hand, let me know that you can hear me okay, so I know that the audio is working. Okay, great. It looks like we're getting a couple people to raise their hand. That's great. I just want to make sure everyone can hear us. We have a lot of great information to share with you today, and I just want to make sure that you get the full experience. Also, as we have a few more people that are joining on, my team is making sure people are getting registered okay. I'm just going to ask you just a quick question. I'd love to know who's on our call today, so I'm just going to send out a quick question just asking a little bit about where everyone is at with regenerative medicine. So if you could just take a second and answer that question, that would be great. While we're doing that, I'm going to introduce myself and just let you know who I am. My name is Christy Davies, and I work on a daily basis with helping providers grow their practices. And most specifically, I've been really working with physicians who are wanting to move into a more cash-based scenario because we've really struggled lately with reimbursements from insurance companies. And so it's been really great these last several years being able to help practices build in on their regenerative medicine practices and bring in more cash practices. And so I'm hoping today you're going to be able to really get a great feeling for how to do this and have some steps to move forward. Looks like almost everyone has answered today, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up. I know a lot of you probably had an opportunity to go out and view the eclipse today. It was kind of an amazing experience here in Twin Falls, Idaho, where you could actually see it getting darker. And what I was surprised about was literally how much cooler it was. It was really quite amazing how much cooler that it did get as the sun was getting covered up. So I hope you guys all had an amazing eclipse experience and were able to enjoy that a little bit with your family and your coworkers. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen so everyone should be able to see a blue screen in front of them now that says launching a successful regenerative medicine practice, the steps you need for success. We're going to dive right into our content today. And at the end, we are going to answer questions. So if you have any questions, please make sure that you put those in the question box, and my team will look at those and then we will answer those live on the call at the very end. So some of our plan for today is just to have you kind of leave with your eyes open about the exciting specialty of regenerative medicine and to give you some steps to integrate this into your current practice. And then I want you to listen to the end because we do have a special offer for all of our attendees that are on the call today. And we want to make sure that we're able to have a few minutes to walk through that. This webinar today is going to take about 35 to 40 minutes and it is being recorded. So we will send you the recording. The people that are on the call today are going to be the first ones to receive that recording, and then but I just want to let you know that it is being recorded today as well. What we're going to learn today are some of the steps you need to get started with your regenerative medicine practice, as well as help grow your regenerative medicine practice. I know a few of you had said that you're started with regenerative medicine. Maybe you have some of the equipment, or you've kind of been going to some courses, and now you need to really understand how to integrate this into your practice. And so some of the other things we're going to talk about today is why regenerative medicine. Why is it so exciting? Why do we need to be acting on this now? How to set up your practice and how to launch and grow your practice. So let's talk a little bit about today's bad news. Insurance companies are essentially dictating treatment plans and payment. It is so frustrating for the providers that I work with on a daily basis right now is that we have decreased reimbursement. And we're getting to roll around into January very quickly, and the announcements will come out in October what Medicare and Medicaid and a lot of the other payers and carriers also follow suit with decreases in reimbursement. And it's just frustrating for physicians who have worked hard and built their practices up that they're just having to work harder every day for the same dollar that they were able to make 5 years ago. Increased credentialing rules. There's a lot of facilities and insurance companies that are making it very difficult to get credentialed with them. I'm working with some groups in different states, and a lot of insurance companies are carving out the individual providers, and they're wanting to network mostly with the with the hospitals and the hospital groups. And so that's very frustrating, I know, for a lot of groups. And so we want to make sure that we are paying attention to the rules that the payers are putting out in front of you. Patients are being treated based on what the insurance covers. A lot of times now, doctors are, or patients are saying, I only want to do what's covered by my insurance company. We're going to talk about a few tricks on how to get around that and how to get your patients on board for doing what's best for them. And very high deductibles. This is not everyone knows about this. I'll even share my example. My family has an $8,000 deductible for their insurance. We have not met that deductible, thank goodness. It's going to take a major medical incident for us to meet that deductible. And so essentially, whenever I go into the doctor's office, unless it's preventative care, such as, mammograms, physicals, things like that, it's not covered. I am a cash patient to my doctor. And I tell them that when I go in, if I take my daughter in because she's sick or we go in for a cold or something, I just say, you know what, I have a high deductible. I know this isn't going to be covered by my insurance. I just want to pay you right now. If you had more patients that would do that, it would make it a whole lot easier for you. But a lot of patients still are in that mode that we had 4, 5, 10 years ago, where their deductibles were, $200, and they met them very quickly, and that the insurance then would pay at 80% or 100%. Those days are no longer here. I mean, those days are over. And so if nothing else today, and you guys can get your pens out and write this down, if nothing else, take home today that every patient is a cash paying patient to you unless proven otherwise. Unless someone says otherwise, everyone is a cash paying patient. Hospitals are building networks to compete with independent physicians. This is also something that everyone on this call knows about, and it's just going to continue to be more strong and prevalent until the physicians start to fight back. They're tying up these insurance contracts, and they're also increasing the cost of healthcare. As I talk to a lot of doctors who have human resource problems, finding staff that will come in part-time, and nurses especially, it's hard to be able to get those nurses and even some medical assistants and people to come in and support your office because these hospitals are eating them up. So we need to raise our playing field up with them so that it makes it a lot easier for you guys to hire staff as well. And then again, continuing education is very expensive. Of course, you all have CME requirements that you need to meet to keep your medical licenses, and we all know that. However, sometimes the courses you really want to go to learn something new, it's hard to get to because they're expensive and you've got to take time out of your practice. And most often, we only look at the cost of the course, and then we look at the cost of the maybe the travel to get there. We don't take into consideration the cost of being away from your clinic. Some courses are 5, 6 days long, and you're taking all that time out of your course. And so, you might be looking at really a $7, $8, maybe $10,000 kind of loss out of your clinic for you to go and attend this course. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more as well. So the good news is that regenerative medicine is very exciting. This is, providing a lot of great promise for physicians that are out there wanting to bring in a great treatment that's going to help heal their patients and really get paid for what you do. This is considered cutting edge technology. It's in the news. I did a bunch of research on this, and I had like about 10 articles I could have listed that were people that are fairly famous have just recently received either a regenerative medicine or a stem cell procedure. But Adam Wainwright from the Cardinals, he actually is receiving his second session of PRP. He's a pitcher, as a lot of you know. If you're a Cardinals fan or a baseball fan, you really know that. And he has epicondylitis in his elbow, of course, from pitching. And he had a PRP injection a couple years ago with great relief. And so now he's having this again. And what he's finding is that he's, if you read through a bunch of the articles, it talks about this and how he's like on a maintenance now to where he's wanting to keep that tendon strong and healed so that he doesn't have to sit on the bench. He's not going to be on the injured list. He can play longer and stronger. This is a cash procedure. This is very exciting to everybody that's on this call. Knowing that you can get paid what you're charging is so important to you. You're able to price this and get paid for the work that you're doing. And this is a switch for you, where before the insurance companies are essentially telling you what you can do and can't do, and then they're also telling you what they're going to pay you to do it. And we know that those numbers are not going up, they're getting lower all the time. More and more patients are asking for this. They are hearing and seeing on the news how people are receiving stem cell therapy. They're seeing commercials. They're starting to see more and more information out there that where patients are coming in asking for these procedures. The out-of-pocket, depending on what you're doing, might be comparable or similar to what it would be for them to pay for you for a regenerative medicine procedure. For the pain doctors and the orthopedic doctors on the phone today, if you're looking at doing a series of 3 epidural injections or a series of 3 facet injections, and you're going to switch that to a regenerative medicine procedure, you do that out of pocket, it might be very close, and you can explain that to your patients, and that is very promising to patients, where they're going to have to pay the money one way or the other. And if you're selling it to them in a way where, wow, this is, I'd much rather pay it just for something that's going to potentially heal me, and really repair the injury that I have, versus just having a treatment that's going to just kind of put a Band-Aid on it. And patients, what we are learning more than ever is that patients that invest in their care are better patients. They're better patients for you. They're better patients for themselves and their families. And you're going to have more success with patients that are like, yes, I want to do what is best for me. With this, and it's part of a whole plan. It's part of a whole model that you're going to bring into your practice as you bring in regenerative medicine. So let's talk a little bit about setting up shop. You need to put a business plan together. It's important to know what you're planning to do and how you're going to do it. It's important to set up hours of operation. Even if you don't really have a clinic yet where you're seeing patients for regenerative medicine, you still want to have hours set aside. You want to have practice operations. You need to get your consent forms in alignment. You need to know what you're going to charge. You need to know what you're going to do. You need to have a menu of services. You need to maybe get the training to do these services. You need to have your protocols in place. These are all important key steps in success for having the best model for regenerative medicine. You need to plan to market. The marketing for this is going to be critical for you getting in and drawing in the right patients. I'm going to give you a few great tips today on some marketing tools, but you're going to want to put a budget together. You're going to need to have a website that's specific to regenerative medicine, and you're going to need to have content that is also specific to regenerative medicine, so that you can set yourself apart as the expert in your area. Do a little bit of market research, and this again is going to be different than your traditional practice, depending on what you're doing. I know we have some doctors on the call that are they're already maybe doing some cash procedures, and they're going to incorporate regenerative medicine. That's certainly okay. But if you're a pain management orthopedic doctor, family practice doctor, and you have a website, you're going to want something special for your regenerative medicine section. Something's a little bit more flashy, a little bit more people friendly. Make sure it's mobile friendly. All of these things in order to have the best success with your regenerative medicine practice. So let's talk about hours of operation. You want to establish this very early, even if you don't have patients yet. I know you're wondering why. I'm going to tell you why. And that's because if you have to do all of those things that I just talked to you about on the slide before, you need to set some time aside to do that. Because if you don't do that, you are going to it's just going to get put off to next week. Or if you're trying to do this like after hours and fit this into all of your other daily tasks, it's going to be very difficult to accomplish everything that you need to do to get your practice set up. So I recommend even a couple hours every week, and just carve it out and covet it. As a former administrator for a clinic, I would tell you that if my doctor told me he wanted to carve out a couple hours to build his regenerative medicine practice, I'd probably look at him and say, hey, doctor, I've got a week-long waiting list out here, and I want to fill that spot. And that's where you need to set the tone and work with your team and say, hey, I really want to build this. Here are the reasons why I want to bring this in, but I need to have the time set aside so that I can take the time to get this set up correctly, so that it doesn't just become another failed attempt at something. I really want to make this a positive experience for everyone. I just need these 2 hours. And you work it out with her or him on the best time that you could do that. But set a couple hours apart so that you can make that time to meet with vendors to come in and talk to you about the product. You can meet with the marketing team to get your all of the marketing items approved, get your business plan together, approve your consents, all those things. But you do need to make sure you're taking the time to do that and set those hours apart. And it also gives you the hours that when you have a patient that's interested, says, you know what, doctor, you know what, I agree with you. I do want to have that PRP shot in my knee. And then you could say, you know what, that's great, John. We do those procedures on Monday afternoons from 1 to 3. What time works for you? Okay, you already have those hours set aside. You don't want to put them in with the rest of your schedule, because if you put it off for a couple weeks, they're going to start to shop around, they're going to change their mind, things like that. You want to strike while the iron is hot. And if you have that time set aside every week in your schedule that you know, you don't have to go and ask your front desk, you don't have to go ask anyone. You can say, I know I've got this time available, and you could put them in there. That patient is, first of all, going to be, they're going to be on board because you're on board. You guys are meeting each other on the same level, and you want to be there for that patient, and they're going to feel that too. And your staff is also going to see you stepping up and really taking control of this part of your practice. It's going to be very positive for everybody. So if you don't do it today, when are you going to do it? You know, if you're going to try and get to it tomorrow, you know, the never box often gets checked, or, you know, later, you know, another year. I just recently had a doctor that approached me. I travel to a lot of conferences and speak a lot of different places across the country. And I just had a doctor come up to me, and I hadn't seen him in a year or so. And he came up and gave me a hug, and he was just like, Christy, he said, you know what? You were right. I needed to set that time aside. I didn't. And I'm a year later and I've done nothing. I have equipment that's been sitting on the shelf collecting dust. Can you help me? I need your help today. Help me get started. And I just don't want you to be the one that's waiting a year to get started. So we're here to help you get started with that. So a little bit more about setting up shop is getting a good business plan together. And you want to do a SWOT analysis. And a SWOT analysis is your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Obviously, your strengths are going to be in your education and your training. The strengths are in the fact that this is cutting edge technology, and that you have good vendors out there that you can work with and do good pricing. Your weaknesses, maybe you don't have enough of a team yet, or maybe you have maybe you haven't done some things that you need to take care of. Maybe you need to get some training, those types of things. Opportunities are going to be really essentially everywhere. There are so many opportunities out there. I have a doctor that is in Toronto, Ontario, and he has patients fly in from all over the country to have his services with him. Another good example is a doctor down in Phoenix, Arizona. He has doctors flying from all over to have procedures done. He doesn't work 5 days a week. He works about 2 days a week, and the patients come in on his schedule. Took time for him to build that up, but opportunities are everywhere. They're not just in your immediate circle, and that's where we want to look outside to other opportunities versus just immediately what you have going on. Your threats, not a lot of threats out there right now. Your threats are going to wanting to be, making sure you're doing the right therapy for the right reasons. Another threat might be is that, the competition. You might have some competition coming up. Someone next door is doing these therapies, and you want to make sure you're setting yourself apart as the expert in these spaces. We can work around just about any threat as long as you are planning well. Where are these operations going to occur? You're going to have a new, or you're going to add another location, or you're going to have a new location where you're going to do this, something that's a little bit more maybe spa-like or has a newer, fresher look. Or you're going to refresh your current location. Either of these options are both excellent options, of course, but you want to make sure that you're putting a plan together for that. If you're going to refresh your location or have patients come into your current location, there's going to be some things that you're going to want to do to be ready for that. Banking and finances. I do recommend that you keep a separate set of books for your regenerative medicine practice and your patients that are coming in, and those direct expenses that are involved around that. Obviously, if you're using the same building and staff, some of those things might be a little hard to kind of carve out, but over time you're going to be able to. But any of your marketing that you're doing, any of your patients or the revenue that's coming in, that's going to show you a profit loss margin. So you're going to know where you're at. And it's so important in today's business to really start to do that. And so I do recommend that you keep a separate set of books, even if you don't have a separate bank account or a separate tax ID. You're going to want to budget for several things. You're going to want to budget for your staff to help you with different things. Maybe you're going to have a nurse go to training, or maybe you're going to have someone that's in your office do marketing. You want to make sure you are setting some budget aside for that person. Budget for your facilities, for your products, know what you're going to need internally to get up and running, and also for operations, and that includes marketing. You're going to need to put a marketing budget and put that together. So a little bit more about setting up shop. Do you have a system yet? Are you using platelet-rich plasma? Are you going to do bone marrow? Are you going to do adipose therapy? Are you going to use some of the allograft products? You're going to need to take some time to research this, find out what product you're going to do, have those vendors come in and see who is a good fit for your office, and get them in and get that product in so that it is ready for you. You want to be able to have a way to say go when someone says yes. You want to be able to say, I've got the equipment here, we're ready to go. Allograft product in general is, you don't need a lot of heads up notice about that. You usually need about 48 hours. That product is shipped overnight, comes in a freezer pack, and then you open it up, you thaw it out, and you use it. It's pretty easy to use those products, but you do need to make sure you have enough shipping time, which is at least 24 hours, unless you have a freezer. We have a lot of doctors that build up as part of their goal plan. They build up to wanting to do so many cases a week or a month, and then they get a freezer so they don't have to worry about that. They always keep some on hand. You want to know what your menu of services are going to be. And you want your staff informed about this too. But here's kind of a basic list. We're going to talk a little bit more about staffing in some later slides, but the types of injections you're going to do. Are you going to do knee injections, joint injections? Are you going to do spinal injections? Are you going to do facials? Are you going to do it with more, are you going to do the fat injections into the face? You really need to know what it is that you're going to do. Are you going to do tendon and ligament injections? I recommend for all the sports medicine doctors, the orthopedic doctors, pain doctors, and even some family practice doctors that are trained in injection, do those tendon and ligament injections. Keep those patients as part of your family. You want to make sure that you're taking care of those patients. Are you going to do spine injections? Just talked about that. Are you going to do or offer IFU infusions? A lot of doctors are now doing this as part of a full therapy. And the research is starting to build up about this. You want to make sure that you're researching things well, get with the right medical doctors that are going to be able to help you with these things, and get the program set up that's right for you. Don't offer things or put things in writing that you're going to do that you don't know how to do yet, because that's going to be the thing someone asks about first, and you're going to kind of stumble a little bit. Know what you're going to do, get it in writing. You can always update your website, always update your menu of services, and always make an announcement about new therapies you're starting to offer. Wellness therapies goes right along with the IV infusion, as well as sexual optimization and aesthetics. Okay, there's a lot of great anti-aging opportunities out there for wellness sides of things. So let's talk about setting up shop and giving you a little bit of information about pricing. I know quite a few of you are just getting started with regenerative medicine or have not quite started yet. So this slide is very important to you. What is the bottom line here? What can I charge for these therapies? For PRP injections, and when I'm talking about PRP injections, I'm talking about joint and tendon injections, the facial aesthetics, hair restoration, those types of things are what I'm talking about in here for the PRP injections, okay? Basic injections. Your average cost, this is looking at kits pretty much across the board. Your average cost for your kit, including a little bit of staff and room time, is going to be about $300. Might be a little bit more if you're having to rent a surgery suite or something like that. You have to take that into consideration. This is just an average cost is what I'm looking at here. Obviously, your outliers, you're going to have to pay attention to what your personal costs are. But then what you can see is you can see what the difference is going to be in your profit margin right here, okay? Stem cell procedures, we're charging on average between $2,500 and $4,000. Now, I know a lot of you guys have probably heard about outliers where people are charging $8,000, $10,000. They're considered into the average, but I'm wanting to stick into a safe zone of where I know you can start at. We can always change our pricing if we need to, but these are good, profitable numbers for clinics, okay? These are good numbers. These are really good numbers for you to get started with. Your average cost, depending on what product you're using or doing, is going to be about $1,500. Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, but it's going to be right in there. So then again, you can see what your profit margin is going to be. If you're charging $4,000 for a stem cell procedure, your average cost is $1,500. Profit margin is $2,500. I don't know a lot of procedures out there where you're actually profiting $2,500. This is gross profit. This is after the majority of your expenses are paid. So that's really nice. IV therapies, again, if you're offering those, these are, and depending on the infusion and what you're putting into that IV cocktail, your average charge is going to be around $800 to $1,200. Wellness and aesthetic therapies, $900 to $3,000, depending on what you're doing. Average cost is going to be about $1,000 for these wellness and aesthetic therapies. If you're using on the higher end, they're going to be closer to the $300 or $400 on the lower end of these therapies. So very, very profitable procedures, very profitable procedures. And it's why it's so exciting for doctors. And again, these are average prices. You know, you might be in an area like, you know, I have doctors in Southern California where they can charge more than this. Or if they're, you know, exclusive in their space, you know, there's other areas where you can charge a little bit more and just do less procedures, you know, essentially is what we're looking at. So let's now talk a little bit about marketing. We're right about at the halfway through mark, and you know, this is kind of the part where I get very excited. I mean, I love talking to doctors about regenerative medicine. There's just no doubt about it. You can probably hear that in my voice. But with marketing, it becomes very personal because it's important to make sure you are sending out the correct message. Okay, so before we get started on the marketing side, I'm just going to take a sip of water here. I'm going to launch a quick poll. We've kind of talked about the highest, most of these things. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll for you guys to just kind of take a look at that. Okay, great. A lot of you guys are starting to kind of send that information in. It's just nice to know what the challenges are because as I offer more and more webinar information, I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the very best information and really meeting your needs because I like to do these several times a year. And so thank you guys for taking the time to answer these questions. I sure do appreciate it. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to start walking into the marketing sides of things and what you're going to need to be looking for marketing wise. The biggest thing is that you need to understand that the marketing for your cash business is going to be much different, like a total 180 of how you market your other traditional practice, unless you're already in a cash-based practice. Okay, and so it's important to really understand that right up front. You know, we're going to be going directly to the public for the majority of our marketing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll up. Thank you all for voting. I appreciate it, and just kind of putting that information in there. So as part of marketing, and you should be able to see a screen now that has the marketing information on there. You need to set a budget aside. And this is where you're going to need to talk to someone and have an idea of what you're marketing, who you're marketing to, etc. Before you can even do a budget for any of that, you really need to know where you're going, which is why you need to plan. A couple slides before where we talked about the setup, it was important to make sure that you put a plan together to know what you needed to do. What market are you going to serve? What are going to be your therapies that you're going to offer? Because that's going to make a difference in how you market, and it's going to make a difference in how you set a budget aside. One of the mistakes I see doctors make or clinics make even is that they throw money at something without really knowing what their end game is. You know, what is our goal with this marketing campaign? Is it just to get out a broad information message? Is it, you know, we're just trying to let people know what's going on? Is it to bring patients in? Is it to bring patients in of a specific demographic? Is it to bring patients in of a specific demographic that need a specific service? Those are the things that you really need to know. Most of the clients I'm working with are that last thing is what they're looking for. They're looking to bring in a specific demographic who is looking for a specific type of service. And in order to do that, you need to get very precise about how you are marketing, because it's very easy to throw a bunch of money into TV advertising and run out of budget very quickly, or newspaper marketing or a print media. It's very easy to put a lot of money into something and not really see an outcome. The other thing about putting a budget together is that when you are putting a plan together and you're looking to market and you're talking to people to help you market, you need to know what is happening on their end. You need to have the evidence that this is working. And that's why you also need to be meeting with these people usually on a weekly basis, or have someone that you trust on your team who understands your goals, that they are going to be speaking on your behalf in a way that's going to make sense, and it's going to keep things progressing along so that you get the best optimal results out there. So again, it's important to have goals out there. If your goal is to have 2 patients every week, and that's a good goal to start with. So I'm going to throw a goal idea out there in case you're just looking at a blank piece of paper and not sure. If you're looking to build up to get 2 patients in a week, and you want to have 2 PRP injections or IV therapies or whatever that is, then you can build an ad campaign around getting those folks in. And then obviously you're going to measure those results. You're going to be looking at those results and saying, okay, hey, how did we do? Have we gotten the patients in? Well, we got in a couple calls. We were able to make one appointment, but the other one didn't feel like they were ready for it, or we had 2 people come in, only one actually scheduled. And those are things that you need to constantly be revisiting, because the months fly by very quickly. And if you're not looking at this every week, it's going to be a couple months and you're going to have spent quite a bit of money in marketing without really reviewing it. If you're marketing, the people you're working with as far as marketing goes, they're not meeting with you on a weekly basis when you're in the middle of a campaign and helping you make adjustments along the way, they're not meeting with you enough. And they're working for you. You need to remember that they're working for you, and you can demand that kind of progress. You can demand that kind of information. Okay. All right. So then we're moving on to brochures. You want to make sure you have good brochures out there. Here is a tip for you as far as your brochures go. And as you're spreading the word that you're offering these therapies, once these brochures are done, first of all, you want to have nice, clean, crisp graphics, nice pictures of happy people, not of a bunch of people that are in pain, bending over. You want it to have the picture of what they are going to, the hope of what they have, the hope of what they want to look like. Make sure that it does meet the right patient population that you're looking at. If you're on a wide vast of ages, make sure that you have enough graphics in there that are going to meet each of those graphics, but you do want to have nice, clean graphics. Don't put too much clinical information on your brochure. Okay. You want to leave them with wanting to call your office or making an appointment. That is the goal of your marketing, that they get just enough information to be kind of triggered to asking for more information. Okay. You don't want to give everything out on the brochure, because then they're going to look at the brochure and it's going to have all this information about all these therapies. And then if, it's like, oh, okay, well, that was great. That's super. That's great information. And then they kind of set it aside. That is one of the things about marketing, especially in healthcare. It's the mistake we make. We feel like we are being pushy salespeople, so to speak, if we are asking them to make an appointment, if we're telling them to act now. Those types of things are all triggers that we need to start to get embraced with as we're marketing for cash business. In your website, you want to look to have a landing page that's specific to regenerative medicine, where people can quickly click on it and look at the different therapies that you offer. You want to have very brief informational content, nice graphics again, and good calls to action. Several calls to action per page. Several calls to action per page. You want them to have a pop-up that says, for more information, would you like more information? My team will be glad to assist you. And they can fill in a little, their first name, last name, email, and a phone number, and then it sends a message to your staff and they call them back. Then a little bit further, click here to schedule an appointment. Call us to schedule an appointment. Act now to receive this special offer. You want to have 3 to 4 trigger events on your landing page in order to get people to actually act on those. Think about how you buy things. When you see something, even think about how you received emails to sign up for this webinar. You received several emails, most likely, because I know my team worked on that. And maybe it wasn't the first one, maybe it was the second one or the fifth one. It's hard to say which event it was that made you sign up and say yes. What content was it that spoke to you? And so you have to have several varieties for people to actually want to come on board and get more information, make an appointment with your clinic. Mailer options. If you're looking at mailer options, I suggest postcard campaigns. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can actually send a postcard out to your current patient population, as well as there are programs out there now that will help you with sending out to a specific demographic. And then you can actually do that demographic based on their social media or their median income, as well as their resident status, etc. Make sure you are sending it to the right people. Don't send it to an area. Actually, this happens in a lot of big cities where there's a university area where there's a ton of people in there. You send a postcard campaign to a university area, whose mailbox that's gonna land in, all the students and the TAs and everyone, and maybe you're gonna hit a few professors, but you're probably gonna hit most of the people that are in school or that are working for the school, and they may or may not be a good patient population for you. So make sure you're hitting the right target. Billboards are good marketing material as well. It's going to be one of those things that you're going to set it and kind of forget it. You need to leave it up there for at least 6 months. So when you're figuring that into your budget, make sure you're budgeting that out there. Okay, it's not a primary; it's like a secondary form of marketing. And so, if you're budget tight, I wouldn't worry about a billboard right away. There's faster ways to get patients in. Newspaper and print media, I don't recommend you start with newspaper marketing right off the bat. It's very expensive, something you can work for down the road if you're setting up like a patient education seminar, things like that. SEO and pay-per-click social media marketing are where it's at. That's where you're going to get the quickest return for the lowest budget dollars, as well as patient education seminars and email campaigns. Email campaigns it's an asset that you already have in your clinic most of the time. If you've been collecting emails in your practice management software, you can download and import those demographics, schedule it, get an email campaign going through MailChimp or Infusionsoft or Ace of Sales, any of those mail campaigns, and you can send out a great email campaign to everyone that's currently a patient in your practice. What I recommend, and this is for both the brochures, the mailer options, and the email campaign, is don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. People are like, well, I need to sort out my Medicaid patients. I need to sort out these other patients. I need to sort out by diagnosis code. I mean, unless you have a huge list that is like, tens of thousands of people, and it's going to cost you a fortune to market them, especially in a postcard campaign, send it to everybody. Send it to everyone, because you never know whose hands it's going to end up in, and you don't know if their situation has changed. Okay? And they might have a friend or a family member that needs that information. With brochures, the groups that I work with is that they have that brochure, and once that brochure is good and clean and shiny and your staff is all on board and ready to start helping you market these services, every patient that walks in the door, it doesn't matter who it is, gets a brochure. It says, hey, Mrs. Jones, we're so glad to have you here today. I just want to let you know that Dr. Smith is so excited about regenerative medicine. We're now offering these services in our clinic. This cutting edge technology is helping heal a lot of the patients that we are working with. Here's a little brochure about this information. If you have any questions about this, ask one of our team members when we come back. It's another tip I want you to work with is start calling your group of your staff, calling them a team, because you guys are going to be a team and a well-oiled machine that is going to be working towards a final goal. That's how teams work. We have a team, even if it's just a couple people, you still have a team, you really do, to help you build this business up, okay? All right, here's a little bit of a budget sample. Everyone like, Christy, I have no idea where to start money-wise. I just don't even know where to start. For graphics design for a logo, you're probably looking at about $50 an hour. There are programs out there that will do that. There is 99 Designs, and they are a great place to get logos, and they only charge you like around $100 to create a logo. And then you can kind of fine tune it as well. It's a really neat program. And sometimes having a graphics designer, it's hard for them to get that vision. When you're doing 99 Designs, you get like hundreds of people that are bidding in for this opportunity. So that's actually a little secret as well, a little tip. Website designer, you're looking at about $50 an hour as well. For a marketing person, to hire them in-house or to have them even working with you outside of the space, you're probably looking at a little bit less if you're having them in-house, $25 an hour if you're contracting those services. So think about that as far as your budget goes. Print media, right here, this is why I don't recommend this all the time. It's pretty expensive. So that's something you can achieve down the road, but I wouldn't do newspapers right off the bat. Yellow pages, don't recommend those as well. If you're going to do yellow pages, because the pricing is so vastly different, if you're going to do yellow pages, just have a small little add-in. Don't let those salespeople, and they are salespeople, they are paid on a commission to sell the biggest, baddest ads out there. Don't buy into it. Be strong and say, my budget for yellow pages is $75 a month. What can you do for me? I mean, you have to be strong in knowing what it is, because if you go in there and you're strong, they're going to say, well, doctor, I can't really do a whole lot for $75. Just say, that's okay. And then they're probably going to come back and they're going to find something for you that's going to work. But again, be strong, stay within that budget as far as that goes, because they will quickly spend your money. Postcard campaigns, you're looking at about $45 to $1 a postcard, and that includes postage, and there's a ton of companies out there. If you have questions about that, you can email me after this, and I'll be happy to get you some resources in regards to some of the companies that do those postcard campaigns. Web impressions, these are like pay-per-click ads. You're looking at about 35 cents to $1, depending on what you're marketing and where. Advertise, and so if you're gonna, and you could put a budget in there like of $20 a day or $30 a day, because you can actually put a cap on that, which is a great thing about pay-per-click ads. Advertising like on a business page, like a TV station, radio station, things like that, where people are constantly going to the web page for information. You're looking at $400 to $800 a month for a 3-page rotating ad. Okay, here's some of the here's the resource for that. You guys can take that information down and use it to get some more detailed information about your demographics. All right, website. Here is a good here's a good information about a website. You need to have content with purpose, and what is a landing page and why. Okay, you really need to have a regenerative medicine landing page out there. We're going to show you a couple of different landing pages here at the end when I can actually click to them and help you out with that. But it's really important to have content with purpose. Have things that are moving parts that are going to keep the audience engaged and have them continue to click on these ads and move forward. Search engine optimization. And this is a kind of a mystery with marketing. Everyone feels like they need SEO on their website. They want to be on that first page. When people are searching PRP in Twin Falls, Idaho, they want to be on that first page. There's some research out there now that is saying that might not necessarily be the case if you're doing other good forms of marketing, that SEO will come naturally. But search engine optimization, to just clear up the mystery, is the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website by ensuring that the site appears high on the list of results returned by a search engine. Okay, so if you're talking about Google and you're typing in certain things, that's where you want to be on that page. The key to getting more traffic lies in integrating this content with search engine optimization and social media. Okay, you have to have something else to support that SEO. Search engine optimization and being on that first page doesn't mean anything if you aren't getting patients in the door. Okay, think about that. If you're paying someone for $500 or $1,000 on SEO and you're on the first page, and your SEO guy is going to say, hey, yeah, we're on the first page with all these keyword searches, you're on the first page when people are searching for those words. Well, and then you're sitting there going back and you're talking to your staff and say, how many people do we have coming in that are asking for PRP or stem cell therapy or thing, I mean, you're going to know how many procedures you're doing. So you're going to know quickly in your head, are we really getting results from this? And so what we're finding now is that you really need to make sure that you have a backup procedure as well, and really be focusing in on social media marketing, email campaigns, other areas of marketing. They're going to cost you less money and get you better results and get you quick results. SEO takes time. Any SEO provider will tell you that. SEO takes around 6 months for you to really get good visibility, unless you're talking about very specific keywords where you're going to show up on that first page no matter what. Okay, there's other ways to get SEO. I just wouldn't recommend spending a lot of money just on SEO. Let's have some other forms of marketing in there to support that. Keywords are the words that people search for, and then you show up on a search. Social media marketing, for those of you that are out there on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, you need to be. Okay, it's not your personal pages as much as your business pages. I work with a lot of providers across the country, and they all said the same thing. Christy, I don't want my patients on my Facebook page. I don't want them bugging me and sending me messages and liking my likes and telling me where they're eating dinner at and all that stuff. It's not about you. It's about your business. So you need to have your business out there being exposed and really starting to get some energy. Okay, don't worry about those negative posts. Those are things that you need to work with on a daily basis anyways. And you're gonna have someone on your team to help you with that. But really you need to be out there in social media, and your business most importantly needs to be out there. On your Facebook ads, you need to have good calls to action. You need to be boosting your posts, and they have to have links to your landing page. If you are just putting an ad out there telling about what you're doing without a link or something that for the next step that people can quickly and easily do, you are just sending out some good information. Okay, it's good information, but if you don't have a call to action on there that's very specific and essentially bold and loud, patients just don't see it. We are being hit with so much every day that it's really hard to get people's engagement. And so if you're going to be out there and you want to market and get the patient population in, you have to hit them 6, 7, 8 times with the same information before they actually act on it. In most cases, you need to be able to track those efforts. Social media does that for you. I have doctors that I've been training, and they all said at the beginning, they're like, Christy, I just don't know if I can do this. And once I showed them how to log into their Facebook page and see where it's at, it actually almost became like the stock market, they said. It's like, wow, that post I put out there and boosted it, my gosh, I got, 200 likes on it, or, 20 hits on it, whatever it is, or I got 2 patients from that one little boost. It almost becomes a bit of kind of a high, so to speak. It's like as you're putting that information out there, and then what's working, you're going to get immediate feedback versus that other kind of blinding marketing effort where you send out a newspaper ad or your SEO, or you've got your website out there and you're just not really sure if you're getting any traction. Social media marketing, you get a quick return. You need to set your budget so you don't get too out of hand. But a good budget every day, $20 to $30 a day for boost posts as well as for ads. Those are both great budgets to set aside. And your Facebook and your social media and your landing pages all naturally build SEO. So what a lot of doctors are doing is they're investing more of their money into social media marketing, and it's naturally and organically building their search engine optimization so they don't have to pay all that extra money out the door. All right. Postcard campaigns. These can be targeted. We talked about this on a previous slide. They are very cost effective. They have a good call to action on there, and you can tie it into a campaign. If you're sending out a Facebook ad, and by the way, your Facebook you can target in the same way, specific zip codes and patient populations. Then if you're sending a postcard campaign right to go along with it, you're getting a double whammy for your buck there. Okay, they're seeing you and getting hit more often with those types of marketing, and that's pretty exciting. It's very exciting because then you start to see a quick return. And postcard campaigns are easy to track. You can put right on there, bring this card in. And I know, if you're, for those that are on the call today, they might go, Christy, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me a fortune. I'm like, it's not going to cost you a fortune because you're getting the business. And so you could put on your postcard, bring this postcard in to your appointment for a free coffee coupon, something like that. Something that's going to get them to bring that card in so that first of all, okay, they're seeing the postcard, they're taking action on it. They're getting, they're bringing it in so they can get that free coffee in addition to getting the services. Don't just make it so that everyone's bringing a coupon in. They're not becoming patients. Just say, bring this card into your first appointment to get a free Starbucks on me. Something like that. You can do very catchy things so that you can actually help to understand how your campaigns are working. So important in today's market. We want to make sure that we are being very cost effective. Nice graphics on your postcards, just a few words. You don't need to fill that up with all the clinical information in your bio about where you went to medical school. And no one really wants to read that information especially on a postcard. Keep it very simple. Request an appointment today. And look at this nice graphic. Everyone wants to be these people out having fun. They might have been at the eclipse today, those people actually up in northern Idaho. But you want to make sure that you have a nice, crisp, clear call to action. Other ideas, TV with a DVD in your waiting room. Okay, constantly be feeding these people with information about the services that you are providing. They're just sitting there. They're renting space in your office, in your waiting room. Use that time wisely. Educate them. Give them interactive iPads with a little video that they can just plug their iPad in and listen, or their earbuds in and just listen to, or have a slideshow for them. Have a video on your website. Brochures on regenerative medicine. We've talked a lot about that. Make sure that you're constantly feeding your patients with the information about the services that you're offering. Clear, concise message. I put this in here, the buyer beware, because there are those out there who are promising way more than they can deliver in the realms of regenerative medicine and stem cell therapy. Don't be one of those people. Make sure that you are doing things based on the information and the education that you've received, and that you've got someone else out there who's doing these services that are helping you along the way. And just make sure that you are not over-promising information. That's how people are getting in trouble with marketing, and those are the targets that are out there. So just make sure you have someone who understands how to market these services so that you don't get into hot water, and that you internally as a clinic know what you are going to offer for services, okay? And that your consent forms are clear so that the patients understand this is still investigational, and here's the therapy that, or here's the some of the research that we have found on this and some of the patient information that we have on this. However, we want to make sure that you're not overpromising, and that they do understand this is still investigational. You've got to get content written. You're going to have to take some time to get that done, or have someone who understands regenerative medicine to do it. I can promise you that marketing firms that know how to market healthcare, or say they know how to market healthcare, don't know how to market regenerative medicine and stem cell therapy. They're going to come back with all kinds of things like holistic medicine and all kinds of things that are going to frustrate you. So make sure you're talking to someone who understands this business. Your social media posts need to be often and specific to regenerative medicine. If you have a regenerative medicine Facebook page, and I recommend that you do, even if you have another one for your other practice, your general practice, have one that's specific to your regenerative medicine practice or your wellness practice, because I know some of them, your guys are doing combined clinics. Make sure that those posts are out there often, several a week, and have your budget in there to boost special posts. Okay, do a quick little video, even record a treatment in your office, or just do a quick little session in your office where you have your staff hold up the phone and they're videotaping you and say, hey, this is Christy Davies today, and I'm excited to tell you about regenerative medicine. We started doing hair restoration in our clinic, and you can actually get these, there's a lot of promising research out there about restoring your hair loss in your balding areas with these therapies. Click here to learn more about it. Just quick little videos to help make your practice even better and shine more. Patient education seminars are a great way to get patients in. Okay, these are great ways. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can have a personal patient education seminar where you're inviting the public. Use Facebook and postcards to get the word out. Use an email campaign. Send the word out to your current patient population. You never know who you're going to get to come in for these things. Make sure you have enough space to get the planning done. Build a powerful presentation. The needs that you're going to have for this are a facility. You're going to have some light refreshments, staff on hand to schedule appointments. Expect success. Expect success. This is probably a big mistake that a lot of clinics make. They have the doctor up there and they just give a presentation, and the customers or the attendees are all sitting there like, wow, that was great. Thanks so much, Dr. Smith. And then they turn around and leave. And they don't have a call to action at the end of their patient education seminar, and they don't have the staff there to help support them to make those appointments and say, hey, my staff is back here to answer questions for you. I'm going to stay here to answer more questions. If you're looking at having one of these therapies scheduled now, we've got times available for you that we can book today. Make sure that you are truly sharing your message and know what that bottom line message is going to be. Plan for that success. That is probably the most important tip you're going to get today. After all this, you need to understand the therapies. You need to understand what each of these therapies do. You need to have your staff on board. It's important to have good transparency with your staff. Make sure you have staff meetings and let everybody know about these services that you're offering, and that you're excited about them and why you're offering them, and tell them about the research and the testimonials from patients that have, were scheduled for an ACL surgery and had PRP, and now they don't need to have that surgery anymore, or that, whatever that testimonial is, and the reason why you're excited about regenerative medicine. Make sure your staff feels that, and they also have that buy-in, and you need them to have that buy-in. You need to have A+ people on your team to make a regenerative medicine and a cash business work, because you're going to be asking for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And if your staff isn't in tip-top shape and they're not A+ people, we might need to find a different place for them to be in your office, because you need great customer service and great team members on your team. Keep up on the marketing and your business development. You need to Plan, review, plan, review, plan, review. You know, you always have to kind of have those things in mind, which is why you need to set time apart for your business. And to deal with the naysayers, it is important that you do understand there's going to be some folks out there that don't understand. A lot of them are there's some of them they're in the medical community, not a lot of them, but there's more and more research out there now, so there's more doctors that are getting on board. But you're going to have some naysayers out there, okay? This is something you're going to have to deal with personally and just say, you know what? I believe in this therapy. And I have talked to people who have had these procedures and have seen the results. I have seen on the MRIs the tear repairs and the tendon repairs, and I have seen the results in patients. You need to be able to be the champion for this and just shut out the negativity. You really do. It's just so important, so important. At this point, you might be saying, you know what, this is too much. Christy, you've given me so much information in this last 47 minutes of this conversation, and this is a lot of information. I don't know how I'm going to get this done. Most of you actually said because I just saw the poll results here. They just had them pop up here. That most of you said the biggest issue was all of the above: the marketing, setting up shop, getting your colleagues to buy in, finding the right people to do this job. And so we are here to help you. Don't do this alone. Make sure you have the right team in place so that when you are spending the money on marketing, you do have the right people to help support you and the ones that understand this and have the content and can get you up and running quickly. It is very important to have this. So we're going to talk a little bit about the special opportunity we talked about. Actually, before that, I'm going to go to one site here. I want to show you an example because I promised you this. I want to make sure I do share this with you. So this is one of my past clients. You're going to see him in just a moment. I have a great reference from him. And this here is his landing page. And as you can see, he has nice graphics. He has some information out there. Talks about the symptoms that they can help you with. He makes it very clear and concise what he's doing. He also has a medical practice that's combined in here, so he does have some services for his insurance. So this is a great example for you to understand a little bit more about how to do a combined website. But then he has like all of the different procedures he does on here, and when you click on these, it gives you very clear, concise information. Has his hours of operation. Click here, new patient special. I think on this one page alone, there are 3 ways for people to get in touch: phone number, scheduling an appointment, and then more information at the bottom of the page. 3 ways just on this one page. Every other page is very similar. So kind of keep that in mind. If you want this website example, just email me and I'll be happy to share that with you. Okay, so let's go on here. I had a great 12 weeks. I only do this. This is a 12-week program, and I only do this every 12 weeks. I took August off. I take a month off in between to kind of reset, find out what else we need to do, and I have a super special offer to share with you at the very end of this that we just came up with today, so it's not on this page. But this essentially is a program on how to launch your profitable practice in 12 weeks, and this is where we're going to meet with you weekly. This is meeting you at your clinic on your time. You don't have to travel for this course. This is meeting with your staff and getting all of your team members on board, getting everything that you need to get your practice going. We've got 2 programs now, because what we have found is that people are at different places in their regenerative medicine practice, and so we have our elite program and our premier program. And we have a lot of great extra bonuses. The premier program includes everything as well that's in the elite program, plus all of these other things. One of the things that I did add in, because I had a lot of doctors from my last group that just said, Christy, can you come out and work with my team for a day? And so they hired me special to come out. Well, in this premier program, I'm actually including this while I fly out. That includes my travel to come out and work with you. That's how devoted I am to building this program up. And I only accept 20 doctors in this program to do this with. And there's a few spots already taken because I had a waiting list from my last program. So you're looking at great values in these programs of between $7,500 and $10,000 depending on what program. And then we have other bonuses in here. You're going to get a free regenerative medicine landing page. It's already going to be done, set up so that you can start marketing right away. You're going to get customized brochures, all these things that we talked about on these previous ads. And then also, if you need the clinical education, I have a set up to get a 20% discount on the future Advanced Regenerative Medicine Institute courses. So these are great, great benefits. This one right here alone is a great bonus. And then you have easy ways to do the program. If you can't pay it all up front, you can make them in payments. And I'm not going to go into these too terribly much because I want to share with you some of the success stories. This is Dr. Radican. You just saw him on that previous website. Dr. Kelly, she has an orthopedic as well as a brand new regenerative medicine clinic in Novato, California. Dr. Chang Chin is a devoted speaker on ultrasound and regenerative medicine. Work with him on a daily basis, as well as Dr. Art Watanabe. Help him build his practice every day. And he and I speak all over the country. So I'm very honored to have just these 4 testimonials, a lot of other ones out there, but these are faces that a lot of you on this call today may recognize, and they all have clinics, in different various parts of the country. And so I wanted to give you my contact information and show this to you down here so that you can take a hold of this. You can call our office, and my team is ready to take any questions that you might have. And then here is my email address as well, so that you can email me with any specific questions. And I do know that we had some questions that came in. So let me just go to the questions section here. Bear with me a moment. All right. Okay, so one of the questions that we had was, do you need a separate tax ID? That is a great question, and I have a lot of doctors that ask me that. And it's not something that you need to have right off the bat, as long as you are setting yourself up to having that somewhere in your plan. Because as this specialty grows and as we have more information out there about regenerative medicine and perhaps regulations from insurance companies as they start to come on board, you might want to have a separate tax ID number up just to set that business apart separately. The other part that you might want to, reason you might want to have that is that it helps you add in other types of the therapy. And so, like maybe you want to then add in maybe you want to add in another wellness therapy, like maybe you want to bring in a chiropractor or you want to add in aesthetics. And then you have that tax ID set up to really grow those types of therapies, and you have a place and a business set up to do that. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why you might want to have a separate tax ID. Let's look here at other questions here. Okay. So we had a doctor here that said, okay, Christy, when does this program start? This program starts in September. It's going to start, I'll give you the exact date. I believe it is September 6th. I'm looking at August here, bear with me. Yes, September 6th, we will start. And so as you sign up for the program, you will receive a notification saying that you've been accepted into the program. And then you will also receive a questionnaire, which I ask you to take a little time to fill out so that we know where you're at with your practice. And then it gives us a little bit of time to kind of go through that information in that detail. And so make sure you take the time to fill that questionnaire out. Then my assistant will schedule a call with you, and this first call will be an hour-long call with whoever you want to have on that call. If you want to be on that call, just you personally, I'll meet with you. If you want your whole team, we'll walk through everything with your whole team. And we spend a good hour and a half going through your goals, starting to build that business plan so that we can set the program for you. This is not a packaged course. This is something that meets you where you're at in your practice to help you move forward. And you do need the steps in place to do that, of course. Okay. How long do we have to sign up? I am holding the spots I have available for 24 hours for the people that are on this call to have the first opportunity to sign up, and then I'm releasing it out to, I did have a waiting list, and so those spots are filled already. So I have about 16 spots left filled for the program. And so, if you're interested in this, or, if you can't say yes today, email me, let me know what the situation is so that we can work with you on getting you signed up when you can. But we really, we want to have as many people on this course because the next one will not start until January. And so if you're interested in doing this program, even if you can't start at that week in September, we can adjust that time frame a little bit. Just need to know where you're at with that so that we can make sure we hold that spot for you. Um, okay, here's another question on the complimentary landing page. That is going to be a complimentary landing page. It sounded like you had a question about what that entailed. We actually personalize that for your practice. So if you're only offering joint injections and tendon injections, that landing page will be specific to that. We have nice, fresh graphics in there for you for that as well. The other, I almost forgot this, for everyone that's on the call, I'm very excited to say that if you sign up in the next 24 hours, we actually have a customized regenerative medicine video that's already put together that we can put your contact information at the end that we are going to give you as a gift, which means it's already done. You'll have that ready to go within a week or so. We just need to get a little bit more information about your clinic to put it in on the back end of that video. And we're super excited to have this video as part of our offering for everyone that's on the call today. So if you have questions about that, let me know, because that video is pretty special. To have video content alone is one thing, but to actually have a video, I know a lot of doctors that have spent thousands of dollars getting videos created. Let's see here. Okay. Do you have same topic regarding setting up anti-aging medicine? Yes. So yes. So this program will work for that as well. So I have groups that I've worked with where they had like weight loss programs, and they had aesthetics programs, and they were incorporating regenerative medicine. So yes, so the answer to that question is this is really focused in around cash-based practices, and we can help you grow those and incorporate regenerative medicine into your anti-aging or work with your anti-aging practice. So either one of those. All right, I know it's Eclipse Day. I know that everyone had kind of a crazy day, and I sure appreciate everyone coming on this call today. It has been a joy having you on here. Make sure you take my phone number down. If you have any questions, email me or call me, and we'll be sure to reach back out to you and get all your questions answered. I'm so looking forward to having you in my next course. The first one was such a success. I was working with doctors on an individual basis before, and then I had such a need that I really put this program together, and it's been such a great success in working with doctors, help them get where they need to be, and really help them save some money along the way as far as their marketing goes. So we'll be sending you a follow-up email with this information in it so that you can go through it and let me know if you have any questions along the way. I sure hope you have a fabulous rest of the day and a super evening and a great week. Again, thank you so much for joining me.